they need to be rewarded.
And funny you should say that. And I want to say this because this is a part of what I use with my children. Oftentimes we punish our children when they do bad. You know, they get spankings, punishments, timeouts, you name it. But when those times when they're always doing good, they bring home the good grades, they're not misbehaving, they're not doing the things, and in fact probably doing some of the things that they've been instructed to, oftentimes we fail to reward that.
Amen to that.
We fail to reward it. We will immediately you know, impose a punishment, but we're really slow to impose reward.
To give a reward.
So,
I agree with that.
So I use a lot of reward with good behavior. I also use a lot of good behavior as credit towards other things. I insist on honesty.
Exactly.
You must be honest. You know, I would rather you tell me the honest truth.
Exactly.
And we deal with it as opposed to finding out later. Because then you ruin a factor of trust.
Exactly.
So as I explain to my kids, you know, I'm not going to kill you. You're my children. So it's nothing you can do that would separate me from you. So you should not be afraid to speak to me about anything. So when you share those things, we can work through it together. We can correct those errors. And at the same time, I know you're honest. And when things happen, I can trust and believe that those things happen. And so when things are good in your life, in those big gaps, when that thing comes up, the punishment that I might have imposed before, I might be a little more lenient on that. So, and that actually, that's worked for me over the years. And
that's good. I look at, and I have to keep going back because I don't actually have any children, but all the children at St. Paul Missionary Baptist Church are mine. And he is so, our pastor is just so youth prone. I mean, you know, he just loves his youth, and if you could just see how the youth, when he's up speaking, how they just, I mean, they're just in a daze, they're just staring at him, and he alluded to that. They look for, he tries to present a positive role model for him. Believe it or not, these kids work to please him. They don't want to do anything that upsets Pastor Nash. You know, and we've seen them in different things that they do. They work real hard to win his, to win his approval because of the way he presents himself to them, and he works hard at that. He stays on the parents about that. You know, about getting involved in your children's lives. You know, spend time with them. You know, come to church with them. Look at what they're doing. So. This show for me is when, like Pastor says, when somebody looks at this and says, now, here I am, I'm a father, I have my child, you know, I need some guidance on what I'm going to do with him. Well, maybe some of the things that we're saying today can help them, you know, and bringing up their kids, because we make this statement, it takes a village, you know, to raise a kid, but it really takes everybody trying to help. And that's what we're all about. This particular show is all about trying to help someone, you know, along the way, because it may be that very father sitting out there not knowing what to do. You have a disobedient child. You may not know what to do, but if you use some of the tactics, some of the stuff that you maybe heard here, you can work with your children. He has a great way of working with kids. They just lean to him.
One of the things that Brother Rodney, having a daughter, okay? You ever find yourself sometimes looking at your daughter and you try to determine within your mind what kind of man you would like for her to have?
Yes, sir. Matter of fact, I think I might have a few picked out already.
That's what I think. You know, we're so protected of the girls, you know, because we see so many things happening, and that's how we're against, you know, putting something into the young girl's life compared to the boys. Because look at some, man, I see some guys. That young man will be just the guy I want for my daughter. You know, and sometimes the father can be pretty rough on a young man.
Father can be really rough. You know, I'm sure I was, you know, I probably wasn't a prime pick back in the day, but you know, I really have a lot of faith in, you know, our young men growing up, and you know, I just kind of want to say this too. You know, oftentimes, you know, from the age of 16 to 25, you know, our young men are just really in a trap. You know, we're really in a trap. They're just kind of, you know, exposed to so much stuff to lead our men into a specific direction, to almost, you know, mold them into the stereotype that we have.
Right.
And what that is oftentimes is young men don't see themselves past 25.
That's right.
They really don't see themselves past
You're
25.
right. You're right.
Their whole livelihood during that period is really about the right now, and they can't fathom themselves being that father, being that old guy, you know, raising a daughter or something like that. All they can see is themselves in those cars, in those Jordans, in those very expensive clothes, you know, going to those clubs. So what I try to encourage young men is that, you know, what you don't want to do is ruin your life for later. Because if you plan on having a family, if you plan on getting past 25, then there's some foundation stuff that you need to lay earlier on. It's not to say that you can't grow up and have a good time, but you definitely cannot ruin your future by living recklessly in your present, because it has a lot of factors. Because I have a lot of friends that are my age now that did a lot of things that created felonies on their account, on their records. They can't get jobs, they can't get a place to stay, and it was all because of some dumb things that they did early on in life. So what I mean to say is that you don't want to damage your future, because it makes it twice as hard for you to, 3 times, 4 times as hard for you to be successful after you decide that I don't want to do this thing on the streets anymore. Now I want to grow up. Well, you know, you've made it just very difficult for yourself if you're not cautious. And
you know, you gave it 25, but Pastor always says by 30 you need to know what you want to do.
Oh yeah.
He gave him 5 more years. He says he always said by 30 you need to know what you want to do. You know, you need to know what you want to do in life. You need to be set. You
absolutely.
The childish things need to go away. I mean, you know.
You know, one of the things I go to court on a regular basis. Just go monitor the courts, and it breaks my heart to have to tell you, see how the system have failed so many of our young blacks. You said something a few minutes ago about getting their lives ruined. Oftentimes, a kid will go to court on a minor conflict, and I look at the court sometimes how unkind they are. Matter of fact, I wrote an article. I emailed an article to one of our papers about how the young African American youth are treated in these courts. I asked the question: do the judges have any compassion? Do the prosecutor have any compassion? When they see a young person come into the court, rather than find a way to give them a misdemeanor or felony, if it's a low profile, non-violent crime, what about a strict, strong reprimand from the bench?
Absolutely.
That will help these young men, because what they're doing oftentimes, they're destroying these young men. And they put them in a position, they say, well, I'm not going to mount anything anyway. Just do what you want with me. Now, if they don't have any family backing, if they don't have that positive father, or even a mother that will stand with them, automatically feel that they're thrown away. So we got a big job on our hands. So that's why I said this program with you on it is a very positive thing for fathers that are sitting out there viewing this program and feel that you are at the road end. You're not. Because you can be the father. And I tell children all the time, young men, I don't care how bad your mom is, how bad your father is, you do not have to be like that.
Amen.
Amen.
You can make a better life for yourself based upon the situation that you're stuck in. And too many of our neighborhoods and low poverty areas, and where the father is not in the house, well, oftentimes the mother tries to take place of the father. That's impossible. It's impossible. No more so than a man can take the place of a mother, because we got a big job on our hands just by working with those young men. And so when you got a young lady thrown into the equation, I can understand it, because I raised 2 sons and 4 daughters. So I had to really, you know, find a way
to make it happen.
And believe it or not, I'm still deeply involved in their lives. My grandson, I got great-grandchildren, I'm deeply involved with them. And like she said, I spend a lot of time with them. I got a little bitty, about a 4-month-old little boy, grandbaby, great-grandbaby. And man, when he come through it on the crawl on the floor, smiling, my heart just melted.
Yes, sir. I definitely understand.
I'm glad that we did get to the mothers, because there are a lot of single mothers out there, and we don't want to by any means forget them, because there are a lot of mothers that are raising sons and daughters out there. We just chose this time to bring out about the fathers, because a lot of times that's all we talk about is the mothers. We talk about the mothers where the fathers have gone. So we wanted to show that there are some fathers out there that are doing the right thing, that want to do the right thing, that want to be a part of their children's lives, that want to give them the guidance and the support that they need. So we didn't want to leave them out at all. Now, Robin, you've been mighty quiet over here.
Quiet, too quiet for Robin.
It's unusual that I am quiet, but I'm so very proud and very honored to be in the presence of two Black outstanding fathers.
God bless you, baby.
I mean, because when we watch media, it's always the Black man going to jail, the Black man selling crack, the Black man doing everything. But President Obama says that the Black father's supposed to step up. So if anyone's watching this, tell President Obama, here in Houston, Texas, we have two Black fathers that stepped up and met his answers. And I'm so proud. And Reverend Nash does so much at the court system. It's not because I'm piggybacking because I'm his face. I have walked to the court system, and I walked up and I've seen him talking to people, and I'll tap him on the shoulders because he's a community advocate as well as myself. We're passionate about our community. Not that I have to live in that community to be compassionate about it.
Exactly.
He was there for those children. And I want other Black men to step up and be mentors. You do not have to have a son or a daughter. There is a son waiting for you. Take him. Come and get our Black boys. We are not going to lose all our Black boys. Society says they will go to jail. God says and I says we're going to save our Black children. We're not going to jail. They say they're the highest and dropout. Who can change that? We can.
That's exactly right.
No one but us. And we as a community, we were strong back when I was a little girl. Let's bring back that strong drive because we need that. We need that Dr. King look and Reverend Nash. We need that Coretta Scott King and Miss Shirley and ourselves. We need those kind of women back to show our young ladies how to dress, how to talk, how to walk. You don't have to hoochie your way through life. God has given you a brain. You can use it and you can be successful. You don't have to shoot a hoop. You can be an engineer.
That's right.
Rodney is not a basketball player. Reverend Nash is not a basketball player. We got to teach our kids that you can be a scientist, you can be a doctor, because what if your knees blows out? Where you going to be? Who's going to be counting your money, number one? I'm going to count my own money. That's what we want to teach our kids. And that's what I really want to emphasize on. I want to leave you with this, Miss Shirley. I wrote this from my heart. My little boy wrote this. He's 16, and I teach him to be a good man. I teach him, and there's a father in the house, but I'm a little bossy, but I kind of step up some. Everybody knows. But I teaches him, and he says, Mama, I want to write this for TV for you. He says, I'm an outstanding father for my sons, so they will be outstanding fathers for their sons, so they will have a lasting generation of strong men.
Bless, that's great.
Oh, you're welcome.
That is good.
This has been very enlightening for us. There is, and I'm hoping, so hoping that whoever views this show will get something from this, because you've got Pastor Nash here, who is a strong Black man who's out there in the community, working for our youth, working for. He just works for the community, period. Then you've got Mr. Oakley here, who has raised his children, who is steady working with his children and can be a positive influence for someone else's children. And the information that has come out is saying that we can do it. This is not a law. We are not a lost generation. No. We are not a lost generation. No. And our kids are not lost. And we are not going to let the devil take our kids. We're not going to let them take. We're going to fight to keep our children. And we're so hoping that someone was blessed with this telecast. We thank you for tuning in to us. And look for more stuff coming from the community voice, because this show is about bringing information that will help us, that will help the community. It's not about us. It's about helping someone, and we are about giving, and that's what this show is all about. It's giving information to the public that can help them in some kind of way. And Pastor, do you want to close us out?
I just want to say to the viewers out there, always remember there's always some positive black men. I want to focus on that because so all the time we'll criticize the black men for not doing certain things. So again, we thank Brother Rodney for being on this show. Did a great job.